they kind of fell for it, right? And that's how they got busted. So, yeah.
Crazy.
So on January 8, 1880,
Mhm.
the Boston Herald published an article titled, "Houses for Hire, 8% a month paid by a South End bank. For women only, how this remarkable enterprise is conducted."
Hmm.
So this is from an article on Medium by a guy named Ryan Fan, and it's called "The Woman Who Invented the Ponzi Scheme."
Ooh.
All right. Yeah, aptly. I think that was a good title, right? I mean, just once and for all, let's just call it what it is. She invented the whole thing, right?
Absolutely.
So it says, since no men were allowed inside the latest deposit, the reporter dressed as a woman and somehow gained entry into the bank.
I mean,
was
that's
successfully
That's
able.
a fair bit of commitment because I can't imagine it was the easiest thing back then.
Exactly. It says he was successfully able to pass himself off as a potential investor, which we probably have to respect for sheer guile and effort in reporting. Okay? So, according to Clapp, the reporter got the following responses about how the investing worked from a clerk.
We never disclose the methods by which we do business. We do not solicit. We do not deposit unless you wish. We never give references.
So again, I mean, look at that. You need not deposit unless you wish. It's kind of like, hey, you're putting your money here. It's kind of like cars parked at owner's risk kind of thing. It's kind of like, hey, don't come back later and say what happened to my money because you chose to. And that's horrible because it makes it sometimes when someone says that to you, it's kind of like, hey, this is a great thing, but hey, if you're going to walk, then, you're lost, and that's kind of how it's interpreted, right? It's kind of like, we have such a great thing going on here. If you choose not to invest,
it's your loss.
You're missing. Exactly. Yeah. You're missing out on something huge, but hey, I'm not going to force you. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
And that's kind of how it went. So, the Boston Herald really, really did a bit of investigative reporting on this. And she was apparently arrested. She was arrested in 1880 and in prison for 3 years for fraud.
I do find that interesting. Can you imagine $17 million only getting you 3 years in prison?
Yeah.
I feel like it would be a much higher sentence these days.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, as soon as she got released, though, she went right back to it. Right? She went right back to it. Did similar frauds because she was like, "Hey,
this worked.
It worked. It worked. I mean, it worked. I mean, we made a few. There are a few things we can tighten, but ultimately, 17 million is not too shabby,
right?
Right?
It's like
it's really a trial and error process, and we found out what the errors were. The error was getting caught. We won't.
The error was getting.
We won't be doing that again.
We won't do that again. And
but
she did it twice again and got
she
caught
was arrested.
Twice. It's the stubbornness of it is what I find brilliant. It's not like she came up with a different scheme. She just tried the same one twice.
Hey,
again.
Look, I gotta tell you. I mean, if you're convinced about something, you got to just give it your all, man. Are you going to let a little arrest and prison time stop you from your life's calling? You got to get back on that horse, man. I
also find it interesting that she didn't decide to leave the country, because that was a much simpler thing to do back then.
There was too much money to be made. There was too much.
She had so much in hand. Look, you get past the 10 mil mark and she was in Boston. She could have driven to Canada. She could have taken a horse up to Canada and been done.
The thing with people who do things like this is they're usually degenerate gamblers, and so they gamble, and they will gamble and say, you know what, I think I can go all in again, right? They never say, oh, I've made enough, I'm gonna just retire, and live a respectable life and and join high society and all that. No, they want to keep doing it because
because there's more to be made. There's more to be made.
Exactly. So I think Sarah had a little bit of that going on, and she got caught, and she got caught, and she got caught, right?
Again and again.
She just and she just kept doing it over and
until she
over
finally
and
became
over
a
again.
respectable fortune teller. Again.
Oh, what a cycle. What a cycle. What a life. Can you beat that? Can you beat that?
I can't. Personally, but like it's just who would have come to her? It's like you got arrested 3 times. You obviously cannot tell the future. Right? Like you did not manage to do this particular skill that you are claiming to have.
Right.
Right.
Now, this is from Money Week, and it says, what was Sarah Howe's scam? Howe's Bank, which she claimed was backed by a Quaker charity, operated as an early Ponzi-style scheme, taking money from depositors with promises of high interest payments, but paying that interest from later depositors rather than, as claimed, from stock market investment gains, right?
Right.
Unlike Charles Ponzi's scheme, however, Howe's scam cleverly placed a limit on withdrawals, allowing savers to draw only from accumulated interest payments and not from their original capital.
Genius.
She justified this rule by saying that it would prevent members from frivolously wasting their money.
I know better than you. You see, you don't know the ways of money.
There's a reason you came to me. If you remember, I never came to you. You came to me. You sit down and let me take care of your finances from now on.
I'm remembering that. Have you ever seen that ad? It's my money and I need it now.
Something JB Wentworth or something like that. They have that ad.
It's my money and I need it now.
Right. And then Sarah would tell you,
up,
no.
You are going to waste it all. How dare you ask for your money?
Or maybe she just looks at them and says,
hey, look at me. Look at this. It's my money now. Look at me. Look at me. It's my money now.
It's kind of like, what the hell? How can you tell me I can't get my money out? Because, but anyway, a lot of people, and if you think about, the number of women. It also
occurs to me that a lot of the women who were doing this, I wonder how many of them are actually literate, like even able to truly
we're talking about women in the 1800s who most likely did not have much by way of formal education, right? They were marginalized by society. We're talking about widows and unmarried women, poorest of the poor women, right? And this woman just cleaned them out.
Right. She just found the most vulnerable.
It's just
used the fact that they would trust her because she shared their gender, and then just exploited the heck out of it. And so she could have just said anything like, this is the contract you signed, and they might not even be able to read whatever they signed, much less contest it.
No. You know what? Let's go on a quick break now, and we will be back to talk about, what the Boston Herald did to uncover her schemes. We will be right back. And we are back. So we were talking about the Boston Herald, right? And what they did. So let's talk about this. So this is from, again, the article on the mailmagazine.com.
Mm-hmm.
And the article is called Before Charles Ponzi, There Was Sarah Howe.
What an image on that page.
Yeah.
What an image. That is terrifying.
Yeah. If you actually go check that out. It's kind of like a Darth Vader thing going on.
And what a first sentence. Jeez. Okay.
Yeah. So this is a pretty good article that I found on what she was doing. So it said, The Boston Herald, not really a fan of women, it appears, wrote that Howe was nearly as deaf as a post and cross-eyed. Now,
Lovely.
I gotta say, yeah, the woman is terrible, but why are we talking about her appearance in the paper? I mean,
This
it's
seems
kinda
relevant. This seems incredibly
this is
relevant.
like a
to
hat.
this whole
Nah,
situation.
come on, man. That's
Wonderful.
like a hatchet job. That's a hatchet job. It's kind of like you have real
It
beef.
sounds like
right?
a tab. It doesn't sound like a newspaper. It sounds like a tabloid at that point, right?
I told you she was deaf as a post and even cross-eyed.
Let's hear from E Weekly what they have to say about Sarah Howe's new look. Right? That is. Jeez. Bottom of the
and then it goes
barrel
on.
reporting there.
Yeah, no, it goes on to say it claimed she was born out of wedlock and ran away at 15 to marry an Indian physician, who they also referred to as her dark-skinned Othello. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
At least she had good taste, is all I'm gonna say.
My goodness. This is the most ridiculous. What in the world did that have to do with anything?
I think
right?
because at that point in time, just if you're looking at what they're, even what she was picking up on and what she was exploiting was the fact that this society was obsessed with this idea of how someone's worth was based on who they were married to, especially a woman's worth.
Crazy.
Who they were married to, how they were
so
born.
crazy. It's so crazy that even while talking about her and this thing that she clearly did and masterminded, you couldn't just talk about her. You had to talk about her as a product of, or as a subset of a marriage to someone else. It's kind of like, wow. Like, how deep does this patriarchy go? Like, how deep does this, misogyny go? It's crazy. And so, it said their marriage, the Herald wrote, disturbed her mother so much that she went stark raving mad over the heartlessness of her daughter before she died.
Women always go crazy whenever they're upset.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
That's the first start.
There's just so much going on in this article from the Boston Herald in the 1800s that I'm like, wow.
Jeez.
Wow. And then it says, the story also alleged that she then left her first husband, married 2 house painters in quick succession. Can we just talk about what the heck is the house painting? Like, did she just go to their annual meetings and go, hey, boys, you want to be famous someday?
I wonder if they're colleagues. That's an interesting question. I was actually interested in Thomas, but after I spoke to Michael,
house painters who look exactly the same.
Exactly.
Damn you, Michael! I thought you were Mark this whole time. Now I've got to divorce you, don't you know?
In quick succession. I like how it's
in quick succession. That's just ridiculous.
Did they all die? Because I thought getting a divorce back then was a pain. But who knows? And then also, okay, so she managed to get married 3 times and was in and out of prison. And wait, what? Did they say she tried to lure a young girl?
She tried to lure a girl into prostitution, right? I mean, again, this is the Boston Herald. They obviously have beef with this woman. So I would take whatever they say about Sarah with a truckload of salt. But damn, Sarah. Like, what the heck is going on?
That's,
whoa. Yeah. So obviously, the Boston Herald, they went all in, right? It's really, really clear that they did not like Sarah. Okay. So, they slandered her and the slander worked. And by the time she was arrested just 2 weeks after the article, Sarah Howe couldn't even afford the $500 bail. Okay. She was tried and convicted, not of fraud, weirdly, but of soliciting money under false pretenses, and spent 3 years in prison. So that was the first one. Right.
And to give some detail to that, it's because she initially stated that the ladies' bank was connected to a Quaker charity.
The Quakers. Exactly.
Which was how she was able to set it up. That was the claim she had made.
Exactly.
And that was a lie,
but
making it a false pretense. Okay.
Yeah. And what, Sibel, if you had just gone to prison, for 3 years for operating a Ponzi scheme in 1800s Boston. Would you be